So we're all meeting up on our back with soles of the feet together, knees apart, and taking those blocks and supporting the outer knees with the blocks. And then when you find your way down onto your back, you're going to rearrange your body, even lift your hips slightly up so you can move your tailbone towards your heels just a little bit more. See if that doesn't widen your low back and drop it down onto the earth. If it feels comfortable for you, rest your elbows out to the side. Let them drop right onto that ground underneath you. And you could tip your palms in and rest them somewhere on your torso. And then the next natural exhalation, let the effort of even positioning your body like that dissipate. And we're starting our practice with the sense of being close to the ground and the ground of gratitude. So grounding ourselves in this gift of this single day, the one life, the one taste, the one love, many ways to say that, the one moment. We're just naturally centering ourselves. We're not trying to breathe a certain way at this time. In these two directions of the breath, the inhale and the exhale. Just noticing, connecting with it without trying to manage it. Grateful for those three dimensions or three aspects, the body, the mind, and the heart. Allowing ourselves to be aware of the four directions, north, south, east, west. And you're located right at the center of that compass rose. Grateful for our five senses, which as we relax, naturally activate. You don't have to try to smell. You don't have to try to listen. We're just naturally hearing, smelling, feeling, looking, and touching. And that sixth sense, our intuition, that more refined quality of being able to trust our instincts. And knowing that these gentle postures, these stretches, these particular ways of moving really seem to access that intuition, that deeper knowing, the trusting, the heart space. And then bringing both your hands in over your heart. And at least for today, I'd say that seventh element, that seventh quality to be grateful for is the sacred center within. That space in us that is quiet, is still, is full and whole, healed and perfect, just as it is. So I'd like you to receive this practice this morning as a gift you're giving yourself for your well-being. And I'm grateful for your presence here, which forms community. So give yourself another couple of breaths in and out. And as you lift your hands off your heart, just turn your palms upward toward the sky, outstretched slowly with any shape or form that feels like the palms are open to the sky. Beautiful. And then turn your palms down, place your palms on the earth so you are laying on your back. Bend your knees together. Take those blocks and scoot them aside. Place kind of starfish shape. On the next in-breath, really do reach out through the hands and feet as much as possible. On the out-breath, soften down. Let every bone and joint be comfortable and relaxed and grounded. And just see if you can smooth and deepen the breath even a little bit more, paying attention to the way the inhale comes in through the nostrils, down through the airways, really fills you up. And the long exhale helps you connect with that beautiful, spacious, empty feeling. Good. And then please place your feet back down on the ground, your arms down by your side. And this time when you bring your knees in, we're going to find a way to come up to a seat. So I'm going to put my hands behind my knees, but you might just roll to your side and press up. And then if you want to curl your cheekbones towards your kneecaps, swing your feet a little bit. See if that rocking along the spine feels good and smooth, and if not, don't do it. And then when we come up, we're going to land and lean back on the palms and see if we can hold boat pose for a few breaths, holding our feet off the ground. And if we rock the boat, we would bend the elbows, come back a little further, tip up till the feet almost touch. And so let's just rock the boat a few times. Nice. You can increase the placement of your hands a little more widely right down on the ground. Some of you will sit up and put your feet down. All done with that. Others of you want to come into boat with me. Maybe the hands come behind the knees and you zip up a little taller through the spine, shoulders back and down. Sometimes people like to come here. Breathing in, breathing out. And then when the feet come down, we meet up cross-legged with the right shin in front of the left. You've got the block on either side. Just your hands on your knees. And just join me in settling the sitting bones down. Sometimes it's beneficial to take the padding of the buttocks, pull it back a little bit. But eventually slide your palms onto your knees. Good. If your knees look like this because you've just got a body that is tight, take those blocks, put them outside your knees, and then encourage your legs to rest into them. And then see if that helps a little bit to sit up taller. If it's not helpful, it comes out. And with the palms right on the knees, slide your eyes closed so that you can viscerally sense and feel directly the way your hips are seated on the ground. Any way that you could let the weight of your body drop into the hips a little bit more. And consider that a nice firm foundation for some of our seated stretches. In the next breath or two, see if you can zip up on the inside of your body so someone watching you wouldn't necessarily see you sit up tall, but there's just this lift that's able to rise. And then as though that were the straight up and down line of the letter T, if the top of the T was across your shoulders, could you broaden that a little bit? And take a moment and see if you can bring a softness that comes along with the effort to sit the way that I just described. So that was a nice little warm up. That would be a nice place to pause if someone needed to. Now we're going to continue by leaning the torso to the left, forward, right, and around. So eyes are always free to be open or closed, moment by moment, whatever feels like it takes you deeper into your own practice. A little less concerned about watching what I'm doing or anyone else. And if you feel there's a little more openness than you expected as you start this rounding, make the circles a little fuller and deeper. Or if your body is actually a little tighter than you thought, just respect that. Don't push. Just lean into it. So the next time you come forward, a little pause and then leaning to the left, back, right, and forward. Wind our way back up to a seat. Good. We're going to take that right hand down on the ground next to us and take the left arm up and over. So we're going to take a hold of a side bend here. Some of you will make variations on this by tilting chest and gaze up. Some of you will tilt it down. Some of you will just kind of wiggle around because you feel like it gets deeper into the left ribs. And a couple of you might want to take a twirl with me through the left hand. Just feel that full range of motion for your left wrist. Nice. And then keep your head dropped over towards your right shoulder, any amount. We're not pushing, but we're allowing it to drop. And then we're going to stretch the left side of the neck by taking those left fingertips, combing through the air. The head remains where it is, but you have a sense of where your left fingertips are as they're drifting toward the ground. Relax the left side of your neck and shoulder. Top of the left shoulder relaxing. Long line through the fingertips. They can stop wherever it feels best for you. There's no tension in the jaw. There's space between the teeth. Nice. And then we're going to lift the left hand all the way back up. Hold it at 12 o'clock. Push off your right hand. Bring your left hand up to match your right. Give a reach. Notice if each shoulder feels a little different from the other. And then we'll bring on down with the left palm planted on the ground. Side bend over to the left. Head is finding its natural relaxed place. We're staying seated in both sitting bones, so we're not leaning too much on the left. And some of you modify by turning the gaze up, opening the chest. Some of you have your instinctive preference to be tipped down. You can circle that right wrist once or twice. Nice. And then we'll leave the right hand still. The left side of the head drapes down. We comb those spread right fingertips through the air slowly, so we feel this progressive stretch coming through the right side of the neck, top side of the right shoulder. We're breathing and sensing that place of just enough. Holding for a moment here. Relax the right side of your neck and shoulder. Then bring your right fingertips straight up as you push off the left hand. Both hands meet overhead. Pause with me and stay seated in your hips deeply. Reach up a little more through the fingertips. Spread them a little more widely. Rest your shoulders back and down. Nice, beautiful. And then from here, we're going to come forward onto hands and knees and find our way into tabletop. So some people roll forward. Some people take the sage's route of bringing the feet around and come onto the palms. And by sage, I mean wise one who listens to one's body. Now, let's let the head just drop for now. Your gaze lands on your kneecaps. You spread your hands widely so that you've got a good connection with the earth, and you see that your distance between your knees is about the same as the distance between your palms. And as you draw the chin in, you can let the head dangle, even give it a little wiggle. And also, as we're rounding, dangling with the head, breathing naturally, let's draw the navel up toward the spine and start to feel the spine round and see how much distance we can create on the back side of our spinal column from the tailbone all the way to the base of the skull. Nice. And then as we prepare to come from cat into cow, we're going to curl the toes under and just leave the balls of the feet down because that stretches our feet nicely. And then we're going to feel the whole rib cage drop toward the ground. Our hips remain high. We're pressing into the hands. We draw the chest up and forward any amount without needing to lift the chin unless that feels good. And then we're going to find the flow with that. So on the exhale, we flatten the tops of the feet down. We push into the hands, including the fingertips, and we round the spine. And on the inhale, we curl the toes under. Ribs drop, hips and chest rise. And you're going to find that flow at a rate of breathing that works well for you. If your wrists are cranky, you could take those blocks onto your mat and do this move on your elbows with your hands relaxed. Nice. So after a few more rounds where you have a feeling of everything synchronized with the breath and the movement, some awareness of the ground under you and the sky or space above you. So we're going to pause and we're going to step the hands slightly forward. I'm going to take a block from where it is and put it on the mat. That's going to be a landing pad for the forehead as we come into a shoulder stretch called puppy. So the hips stay high. They're right over your knees as they were in table. The hands have moved forward. And as you bring your head down, just see if you can place the block someplace that allows you to lengthen your arms, reach your fingertips forward. Draw your lower abdomen in slightly so you've got some support for your low back. So you're not going to be overarching the low back, but you're then encouraging your ribs to drop down toward the mat a little bit more. Nice. If it feels too much to have the arms lengthened, of course, you can have your elbows down. We'll give ourselves a few more moments here just to see about cultivating a little flexibility through the spine as the back of the heart potentially moves down toward the ground just a little bit more. And we'll see how this is a preparation for Sphinx pose when we transition forward. So last moment or two, spine relaxing down toward the ground. If your arms are extended, slide your hands back so you could push into your hands and gently bring your block off to the side, and then bring yourself all the way forward and down onto your forearms. Good. It's a nice time to take good care of the neck, which in this case will mean keeping the sides of the neck long. So the gaze could be between your thumbs on your mat or just slightly to the space in front of your mat, but not lifting the chin up. And then lengthening from your waist back to your feet. So you could lift your left leg up, reach back, and then place the top side of the left leg and the left foot down, and keep that action in the left leg. Do the same with the right. Reach it back, place it down. And then press your pelvis, your pubic bone, right down into the mat. And from that pressed place down, start to imagine lengthening your spine forward and just slightly up. So if you're discovering that being on the forearms is painful for your upper back, you could do this, just laying down, hands stacked, head down, and following my direction anyway. So let's stay in Sphinx pose, and we're tractioning our elbows back toward our hips as much as we want to create that dynamic lengthening. And we'll maintain whatever level of that we've decided, and we're going to tip the right ear toward the right shoulder. Turn the nose toward the right shoulder, back to the ear toward the shoulder. And this time when the nose turns toward the right shoulder, you're going to guide the nose down along the area of the chest until you can tip your left ear towards your left shoulder. Nice. Nose is out toward the thumbs. Turn your nose toward your left shoulder. And once again, as the ear drops toward the shoulder, the nose is forward toward the thumbs. And then the last time, nose turns toward left shoulder, back across the chest. Then we're all going to take our elbows wide, stack the hands, rest your forehead on your hands, and just take a breath or two here. We're going to build on that pose before we rest. So this time, if you'd like to go next level, bend your knees and let your feet float above your knees. And now press again into the pubic bone and into the tops of the thigh bones. And then press down into your forearms, any amount, to lift your chest up off the ground. Now let's point the toes. And then see what you want to do with this. You could just lift your knees up slightly, put them back down. That's a good back strengthener. You could make kind of a hybrid by keeping your legs bent, but come back to those sphinx arms with the forearms flat down. Nice. Just breathing and sensing what's best for you. Really pressing the pelvis, tops of the thighs down. Nice. And there could be a few that want to take one more variation with me into locust pose. Lengthen out your legs. Hold your feet just slightly off the ground. And then you can take your hands back down by your side, palms down initially. Reestablish that long spine. Top of the head moves forward, toes move back. You can press into your palms any amount to assist the gentle lift, or lift your hands off the ground. Thumbs are to the sides, palms are down in order to keep the chest open and the shoulder blades moving toward each other. Full Shalabhasana, full locust pose. Nice. And then on the next breath out, let your lower body rest. Bring your upper body around. Stack your hands. Put the left side of your head onto your hands. Let the weight of the upper body drop. Bend your knees and windshield wiper your feet side to side. And just stay with that repetitive motion. And let part of your mind be occupied with that. So the other part of your mind can pay attention to your 5 senses. If your eyes are open, what do you see? What sounds are in the environment? Is there any taste? Any smell? And can you feel the touch of the air on your bare feet? And then pause with your feet suspended. Lift your head up. Turn the other way. Right cheek down and float your feet to the ground slowly enough that you can pay attention to when each foot is completely landed. And then give the whole body the chance to rest. 5 breaths, no effort. After your next out breath, you can join me in lifting the chest slightly off the ground. Put your palms right back where your elbows were. Press in slowly with some upper arm strength, allowing you to lift up, and then pull your hips back. Step your knees forward and widely for wide knee child's pose. The big toes likely point in, and if you keep your chin tucked in, you can feel the lower back round and open. Settle your hips towards your heels. Give a little wiggle. Feel that happen first. And then if you come to your elbows and once again stack your hands, you'll have enough time to let the lower body settle. And you have time to let the trunk of the body start to soften toward the ground to any degree. Maybe allowing the belly, the ribs, the chest to feel a little bit heavier. And do allow your head to fully be supported by your hands or the yoga mat. And you can stay here as you are or come into a little side bend, which I'm going to do. I'm going to extend my arms out and start to walk my palms toward the right until the hands come as far over as reasonable. Pull your left hip back towards your left heel. Drop your chest down. Maybe you feel your right ribs rest on your right thigh. You could come back to stacked hands, or you could lengthen out the stretch, reaching through your left fingertips. Some of you might drop the right side of your head onto the mat, and a few of you might take your right arm down alongside your right edge of the mat and let it relax to the ground. Like wide-kneed child's pose with a side bend. And take a few breaths here that feel like the hips are dropping back at the same time the torso has its movement going. If you put your right hand back, bring it around front, walk your hands, both hands, over through midline, and feel that stretch over toward the left. placing the palms out wherever it's best, especially the right palm lands and the right hip pulls back. We drop down, maybe the left ribs connecting with the left thigh. Some of you might drop the left side of your forehead to the mat, and some of you might take that left arm down along the left edge of the mat. Create a nice side opener here. Good. After your final exhalation in this position, bring your hands back around, walk to the center, come back up, find your way back into tabletop, and then handful of breaths, yogi's choice here. Maybe you just want to rock the table. Maybe you want to swish your hips from side to side. You might want to flow through cat and cow a few times. And some of you, I imagine, want to curl the toes under and lift into a downward facing dog. Nice. If you don't do yoga very often or your body is just tight, take your feet wide on the mat, fingers, hands wide on the mat also. So it's a kind of wide-handed, wide-footed, downward-facing dog. Plenty of room across the chest and the top of the shoulders. Space for the sides of the neck. Chance to wag your hips a little bit side to side. Breathing in, breathing out. Beautiful. And then we're all going to drop the right knee to the center of the mat. We're going to take the left toes back behind us, and I'm going to take a few crunches here. We're going to bend the left knee. On the next out breath, you're going to round and crunch, bring left cheekbone and left kneecap toward each other. On the in breath, left toes go back, and if it feels good, the chest moves up and forward. And then finding that flow that feels just right for you. Gentle yogis, stay right down on that right knee. Those who want a stronger practice, curl the right toes under, left foot's up, and you can resume the crunch. Nice. And we're all going to meet up with the right knee back down on the ground, lengthening out through the left leg, and preparing for gait pose. Look to the left, take your left leg out, and put your foot right down on the space next to you. Left toes face forward, the foot's flat. Look at your right kneecap, and as you walk your fingertips in, rise up on that right kneecap and draw a straight line from the right knee, gradually up to the right fingertips, and land your left hand on your outer left leg. So find a balance of being connected to the ground, lifting up without shrugging the shoulders. Keep your shoulder blades back and down. Feel that you're facing forward. And then start to slide your left hand just inch by inch down the outseam of your left leg until you feel a stretch that you like here. And as our other side bends, you're going to do what feels best for you. Some of you will turn the chin down toward the left shoulder. Some of you will turn the chin up toward the right arm. See what feels good. Circle with the right wrist a few times. Then we're all going to bring our spine back up to vertical. Take a little pause and find the block. If you got one off to your right, place it off the mat by a foot or foot and a half. Put your right palm on that block. And then when you move over, shift your right shoulder to stack on top of your right palm and take your left hand straight up. So make any adjustments here. I want this to feel like a modified side plank. So it's a strengthening pose. We're pressing into the block with the right hand. We're reaching up through the left fingertips. If we want to bring it into a side bend, we're going to keep the left foot planted, maybe even point the left toe so the left big toe is connected, and then come into an arched position. So there's a long, beautiful curve from your left toes out to your left fingers. Again, your head is turned up or down or midway, whatever is most comfortable for you. Staying for a breath longer to take one full circle with the left hand. All the way around, just tracing the wheel. Nice. And then pause. Those who feel like they could, lift the left leg off the ground. Okay. Next level could be bend the left knee, reach the hand back, grab the top of the foot. We did a little quad stretch in our warm-up. See how that goes? You could grab the cuff of the pants, or you can just point at the foot. Just know it's there. Open the front body any way possible. Some of you will push the pelvis, ribs, and chest forward. Some of you pull the head back. Some of you stay more in a straight line. Breathe in, breathe out. And then if you captured the foot, let it go. Put it back down. Let's see if we can come back out of the pose. Push off that block. Come back to center. Gather your hands in at the heart. Feel the thumbs touch. Pause. No concern about next. You're just feeling the body, the stretch, the position you're in at this time. Give your mind a breath or two just to relax. And then release your hands down. So palms come to the mat, left knee comes back on as did the right. Few breaths for you to choose how you'd like to move before the other side. Again, some people that have a chronic tightness in the low back might find child's pose with either knees together or apart to be beneficial. Some of you, especially since it's a morning practice and you might want that strengthening, enlivening quality of down dog, might find that. If you're a vinyasa practitioner, you could go from your downward facing dog, pausing in high plank, and then letting your knees come down and your feet relax down, and then just melting the body to the ground. Tapping the forehead, pressing up into the palms, drawing the shoulder blades back towards your back waist, cobra. Exhale, bring it back, hips toward the heels, resting in child's pose or downward facing dog, or resting any other way that you would like to rest. Good. So bring your body into stillness. Doesn't matter what position it is. Eyes open or closed, whatever connects you with the moment the most. Notice if the mind is a little quieter, a little more spacious. The emotional heart a little less restricted. Physical body a little looser. Midpoint check-in. Without rushing, finding your way back into table. Again, resetting the hands and the knees just as active mindfulness, taking nothing for granted, paying attention. And left knee stays at the center of the mat and the right foot comes behind us. Press into those widely placed hands, lift those right toes high, and then bend the knee, round, tuck, curve it in. Inhale, send it back. Nice, smoothing out your breath. At these little check-ins, if you discover that you haven't really been relating to your breath as fully as you'd like, no time like the present to establish that. Those who want stronger, curl the left toes under, right foot goes high, three-legged down dog with a crunch. All meeting up with the right knee down on the middle of the mat. Left knee on the mat. Right leg out to the side. Place it down flat. Walk your fingertips in. Make sure you've got a block placed off to your left. And as you stack yourself right up on that left knee, straight line from the knee through the thigh, hip, side body, straight up. Right hand is on the outer right thigh. And the right toes are turned forward unless your body doesn't let you do that. And just reach a little higher. Side bend over, creep your right fingertips down the out seam of that right leg. Come into the just enough side bend here. Letting the head turn whatever feels most natural and easeful for you. On the exhale, you get the firming of the core in to help the low back feel supported and lengthened. You might circle that left wrist once or twice. Nice. And then one big circle with the left arm all the way around, any direction, doesn't matter. When you bring that left hand back up, bring your torso vertical, pause, look to the left, get ready, set your block 12 or 16 inches off to the left. The palm lands on the block, the shoulder shifts over, so the left arm is straight up and down, right shoulder stacked on top of the left, and straight up with your right hand. And then press into your contacts with the ground, lengthen a little bit more, strengthening pose. Nice. And then we're going to keep the right foot on the ground, pointing the right toe, perhaps coming into a side bend here with our right fingertips, moving beyond the top of our head any amount. Again, you're aware of placing your head in just right place where there's no tension on your neck. Nice. And maybe a circle here if it feels good for your right shoulder. Pausing with that right hand up overhead directly or beyond, or maybe shifting your weight a little more into the left knee and the left hand, picking your right leg up. Next level, if you want, bend the right knee, point at the foot, grab the cuff of your pants, or hold the top of your right foot. Move your front of your torso forward to any degree. Stay connected to your balance on the ground. Feel some openness here across the right quadricep, hip, chest. Good. Let go of the foot if you took it. Place it back down. Push off your left hand. Bring your arms, gather them into the heart center. Find a soft gaze out in front of you on the ground. Smooth out your breathing. Refrain from thinking about what's next. Just try to be here. Nice. As the hands leave the heart, palms come down and bring your right knee onto the mat. You got your 2 blocks. We're going to sit back in hero's pose. So some people don't need blocks at all. They sit right back on the heels. Others do better with 1 block or 2. So I'm going to demo the 2 block variation just like that. And then just give a little wiggle. Maybe move the padding of the buttocks a little bit, and you want to feel grounded, settled, and enough of a sensation of stretch in the quads and the knees. So if you're highly elevated and not feeling enough, take out 1 block. And as we sit here, we're just going to do a little more for the neck and shoulders. I'm going to roll the shoulders around, and I want you to explore how full the range of motion could be here for you. And then reverse the direction. Yeah, you can just kind of let your arms move however they want to as they hang by your side. Nice. And then we'll stay in this position if it's all right for you. Take your left arm in front of you, and with your right hand, catch the outseam of your left arm, your tricep area, and gently pull it in any amount. Relax the top of your left shoulder down. If it feels good in this moment, your left palm could certainly rest on your right shoulder, and you could tilt your right ear toward the right shoulder as well. The breath is full and natural. If you tilted the head, tip it back up. Lift that left arm straight overhead for a moment. Your thumb faces the back, and then when you drop your thumb toward the nape of your neck, bring your right hand up and over, and if it's possible to hook the outer left elbow, do so. And then guide your fingertips straight down your spine, kind of like you were trying to zip up the zipper of a top or fasten a necklace. Breathe. If you'd like to add a little side bend to the right with that, do so. Stay weighted in your left sitting bone. No tension in the neck or jaw. Stack yourself right back up. Release. Bring arms down by your side. Shake your wrists. Shake the whole arm. Even jiggle all the way up to your shoulders. Just shaking off that tension. And we'll do the other side. Take your right arm in front of you. Left palm grabs the tricep area. Gently draw it towards your chest. If it feels nice to have the right palm land on the left shoulder, do so. Hug that right bicep towards your chest any amount. And if it feels good, you can tilt your head toward the right. The left side of your neck open. Going for a nice gentle shoulder stretch. And the neck. And then when we stack ourselves back up, I'm going to take that right arm up overhead. Good. Bend the elbow, the hand drops, and the left hand comes around and catches the right elbow, drawing that right upper arm in toward the right ear, any amount. We're breathing naturally and fully. Some of us might enjoy tipping to the left a little bit, right side body opener. Every moment of awareness is a chance to ground into your support, find spaciousness. And then as we tilt ourselves back up, we release the hands, and then one more. We'll take a bind behind the back, palm to palm. Interlace your fingers. If you can't interlace, you could just touch the fingertips. And then as you roll your shoulders back and down, hug your shoulder blades towards your low back. Then you can kind of feel the stretch across the chest. Some of you float the chin up just inch by inch till you find that just enough openness through the throat without overly compressing the back of your neck. If it feels good, a little more of a reach through the fingertips toward the heels. And then allow your hands to unthread. Let your spine round. Your gaze can drop. Shake the wrists. Shake the arms. Beautiful. And let's get ready to come down onto our backs. So we've got those blocks. We're going to place them off to the side. You can make any adjustments that you need at this time. It's a pretty warm morning out here. I'm glad everyone's in the shade. So let's come on to our back. And come into starfish. Have that nice wide placement of the arms and the legs. There's effort in the reach that feels like it generates kind of from the navel out in these directions, and then relax down. Allow your breath to be smooth and natural. And do a little body scan. Just start with the tips of your fingers, and with your mind's eye, glide this kind and caring and nurturing awareness from the tips of the fingers, just like a slow-moving wave down through the whole body. And you're simply noticing the feedback the body's giving you. Maybe you feel a hum of energy. Maybe you sense any parts of the body that are slightly overworked or underworked. And in your self-guided time in this practice, you'll be able to tend to that. And you might decide now that you want to shift into Shavasana, that all the movement served you well and you're ready just to drop into an extended rest. So please feel free to do that.